Over the Road New Orleans is brought to you by CoinTrader Inc. Mind your money, and recorded in front of a live studio audience.
I found it! Oh my God, yes! And we found a time capsule! All right, guys, we did it. We found a time capsule.
On this episode of All Over the Road New Orleans, we're going back in time with the king of all podcasting, revisiting some of those memorable moments.
2023 time capsule.
Here at All Over the Road New Orleans, the podcast, we'd like to thank all of our listeners, followers, and subscribers for 4 good seasons, and welcome to the show.
He's the most popular current player on the New Orleans Saints, Demario Davis.
Before it was us, before it was this team, it was this city. And the heavens departed, and the Holy Spirit shined on this city. And this city was set apart. Man, look around. Look at the energy. Look at the culture. It's different. And that same spirit is shined on this team. Why you think we call the Saints? Yes. And that same spirit is alive in you. You gotta understand, we represent something bigger than ourselves. Something bigger than just this city. We represent a nation. Who that nation? And that spirit will come alive out there today. Every pass, every kick, every run, every hit. Let that spirit come alive. And let's turn up what we do. Yes, sir. 2, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm always soul searching. My goal in life is to be the best human being I can be. That extends way beyond the football field. I love the game of football because it presents every life lesson that you can ever have. It makes you a better person. It makes you a better husband. It makes you a better father. It makes you a better teammate. It makes you a better co-worker. It makes you a better friend. You're going to have stuff that happen to you that you did not expect. Matter of fact, you expected the exact opposite. And what are you going to do when that moment happens? And you have to do your soul searching before that moment happens. Because if you're not prepared when the rain comes, it's too late. When it's dark outside, somebody has to be the hope to remind people that the sun gonna come back out.
Here at All Over the Road New Orleans, the podcast, we'd like to thank all of our listeners, followers, and subscribers for 4 good seasons, and welcome to the show. He's a menace to opposing offenses, but off the field, he's a teddy bear. He's an all-pro linebacker that plays in the Bayou City of New Orleans. And he don't take any guff. He's an all-pro. He's a philanthropist. He's a father of 5 and a husband to Tamala. He's number 56, and he's pretty darn good-looking. He's Demario Davis. Oh, yeah, there he. Did you like that D? How'd you like that D?
Nailed it.
How about double D? Anybody ever call you double D?
Tamala next time, please. Tamala.
Yeah, we got to first say we got to get it's Tamala, not Tamala.
Thank you.
Jeez,
Start over.
I said Tamala.
Yeah, no,
I said Tamala?
You biffed it, dude. You
That was
biffed
very
it.
close to Tamale, too.
Yeah, start over.
Hey.
Tam, I'm so sorry, Tam.
I said Tamala.
She downstairs. She
Tamala.
downstairs.
I did say Tamala. Okay, here we go.
Yeah,
Start over. Refresh.
just kidding.
It's all good, man. We get it messed up. It's hard to say how.
He said we get it, dude. Skip it.
No, we're not skipping it. He's a menace to opposing offenses. But he's a teddy bear off the field. He's a linebacker. He puts his pants on one leg at a time. He's an all-pro. He's a father of 5 and a husband to Tamala. He's Demario Davis. Demario's with us. Fine. You know, Demario, we've been talking about having you on for a while, and
Yeah.
I know you're a busy guy, especially now because you're heavily involved in the Pro Bowl. I saw the commercial. I love the commercial, huh?
What'd you think, man?
I think you're a pretty good actor. I think you were good. You were actually very good.
Man, I appreciate it, man. You know, when you're doing those things, it really comes down to the viewers.
Yeah.
It's really the opinion of the viewers. And so I don't have much acting experience. I took a few college courses, but we take all kind of college courses. Yeah,
How many takes did it take?
Oh my gosh. For 15 seconds, it probably was 30, 40 takes.
That's not bad. Actually, they probably wanted you to do extra takes, and they pick out the one they like the best. Is what they do.
Yeah, that's what it is. They make you do it a lot of different ways. We probably did the same tape, maybe only 3 times.
Yeah, it's no reflection on you. How you like my fit here? It's a little tight.
Yeah, I see it, man. I like that, dog. Come on, bro. Hey, them guns popping out too. Let's go.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Of course, this is recorded in front of a live studio audience. Now, DeMario, tell me what's going on. What you're doing with the Pro Bowl? Are you actually you're representing Intuit during the Pro Bowl, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm representing the NFC. Of course,
you're up for
Eli and DeMarcus. Eli and I don't know who the DC on our side is. Maybe DeMarcus Ware.
Mm-hmm.
DeMarcus maybe on the other side with Peyton. And we got a chance to, when I was down there shooting the commercial, we got a chance to talk about the rules.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much they've made public, but of course everybody knows there's going to be a lot of different games, and the 7-on-7 is the new feature, and I'm excited about that because I'm always coaching 7-on-7 with kids, now getting a chance to actually play. I would prefer to play. The interesting thing is I would prefer to play NFL players in the 7-on-7 than to get in one of those high school games with those kids. They're that good.
Yeah, they got that down.
They embarrass you quick.
Yeah.
So that's what's really crazy. So it's interesting, man. The first time I'm in the Pro Bowl is it's a new format, and it's 7-on-7. And, they're asking me a lot about the rules and what we thought, just about the different dynamics, like, how much time should the quarterback have?
Mm-hmm.
Should there be blitzing? If there is blitzing, what? So it was a lot just to kind of go into that. Then there's the game. There's golfing events. There's relay races, sled pushes, and all that. So I'm excited, man. The first time I'm in the Pro Bowl, it's the 7-on-7 game, and this is what I literally do. That's my job away from football, is coaching 7-on-7.
Nice. Well, you being from Mississippi, when I was growing up and we played flag or touch, the pass rusher had to do 3 Mississippi. You go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
That's it, right? Think about it, man. Think about how it all come together, bro.
Yeah, you should have said, hey, let's do the Mississippi thing. You should have been on the rules committee with that.
Yeah. So excited about that, man. They took my advice on a few things, which I thought were important. But other than that, man, the game we're going to play is going to be fun. So it's definitely going to be exciting. I commend the NFL for taking a non-traditional approach to try to make it a better experience for everybody, for the fans and the players. Obviously, the players didn't want to be involved in contact at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And that takes away from, people who still have to play games. I feel like because it's all kind of fun activities, players who play in the Super Bowl could still even come and participate, eventually down the line. I think they might do that because it's really a great experience that the NFL is taking the next step to set up, making it a lot more kind of like All-Star Weekend or something like that.
Are you playing in the flag football game?
Yeah, I'm in the game.
Oh,
I got to be in the game.
What about the dodgeball game?
In the dodgeball?
I'm in the dodgeball game, too.
Okay.
Hey.
The long drive one, too, or no?
No.
You don't hit the long ball?
That ain't my forte. Because, see, I can hit a 280, 310-yard drive every blue moon.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the one I probably hit when it matters is probably going to go 10 yards.
You know who the best golfers are? The kickers. Do you know that? The kickers are the best golfers normally.
Most definitely.
Do you find that, Dave?
That's for sure. Tomorrow, you playing dodgeball with the kids? Getting ready?
You know what? I actually have my kids out in the yard, and I had them racing, and I told them, let's play a game. Try to make it. It was called Gauntlet. So I had them running across our backyard and try to miss the balls. And I was just trying to peg them with the balls as they ran.
I love it.
Working on my aim. They didn't know I was getting ready for dodgeball. They enjoyed it, man.
When I first moved to New Orleans, it was right before my 17th birthday. And I grew up in Chicago. And I saw Walter Payton play in person probably a couple dozen times, The first time I saw him play, it was at Wrigley. It wasn't at Wrigley Field, but the first Bears game I went was at Wrigley Field. But so Walter Payton, the Walter Payton Award is the most prestigious award in football, and that's the Man of the Year award. And I think are you a finalist, or how's that going?
It's going pretty good. We all have to go down to for NFL honors.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to announce the winner, I guess, as it gets closer.
Mm-hmm.
Probably let whoever wins know so they can have their speech prepared or whatever. Supposed to be all of us going out on the field at the Super Bowl. I actually vowed that I would never go to the Super Bowl if I wasn't playing in it.
Right.
And I've always gone down for Super Bowl events, but always left before the game. So this one is going to be I'm grateful to have the award, but it's a little cringy going on the field at the Super Bowl and not actually playing in it. But I'm definitely grateful for the honor.
So no one's giving you a little heads up or saying, "Hey, man, I heard nothing."
No, I ain't got nothing like that, man. I ain't got nothing like that.
So there's 32 teams. Everybody's got a rep. So all 32 guys are going.
That I don't know if all 32 are going.
See, well, so they've eliminated some people then.
Hey, that's outside my range, man. I'm just doing my part to stay in line.
Brother, I know. Let's get to the good stuff. Okay, Devoted Dream Foundation is your foundation, and you started that were you with the Jets when you started that, or you did that when you got here?
Yeah, I started that with the Jets. So, man, it's so interesting. And before I go to that, I do want to hit on that Walter Payton piece. Man, I was on the phone with them earlier. We had a phone call for Man of the Year, and it really hit me that we are celebrating a life. Like, this trophy is named after Walter Payton.
Yeah.
It was the life that he lived. And being on the phone with his family, it was just really great to, man. And it's really, it's such a prestigious award. And that's reflective of the individuals that have gotten the Walter Payton Award. Like, if they were just giving it out to anybody and the people who got the Walter Payton Man of the Year wasn't reflecting anything in society. So that torch has really been passed down the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it just really brought like how important that is and what that really means to be in that conversation. You know, you come in, you kind of like, man, that'd be a good award to win one day, to be recognized as a Man of the Year, but to actually have that on you is like, that comes with a huge responsibility. And that's very important. So it was just cool.
Yeah,
but
it's a cool trophy too. That's a cool trophy.
The Devoted Dreamers. So we started Devoted Dreamers back in 2013. It was after our rookie season. We just wanted to do something for kids back in our hometown. All players were like going back then doing like the football camp thing. And we was like, no, we're not just going down and do a football camp, because these kids, they have talent. That's the easy part. It's really the life skill stuff. So we wanted to do something that was more in depth and that included school. So we introduced a Devoted Dreamers Academy, and it was character building, it was educational, and it was the athletics. And that was the first thing that we did. It was a 7-week summer camp, and we just had kids come every Friday for 7 weeks. And they had a great time. In the morning, we would do worship and devotion.
Cool.
Then we would do some type of character trait for the day, whether it was teamwork, leadership, honesty, integrity, something like that. Then they would go in their classrooms. They would do reading comprehension. So we would help them read their summer reading books. Financial literacy was the math component. They'd eat lunch, and then we just let them play for the rest of the day. And so, man, just a great way to start in Mississippi, and really started to pour into kids. That program went for about 5 years. Man, to really see close to 300, 400 kids come through that program and go off and have success. And then about 5 years ago, that's when we phased over to the Devoted Dreamers. That summer camp still ran, but we just supported when my team isn't on the ground with it. We started our 7-on-7 travel team, and it was really seeing that this sports space, man, it's a $1 billion industry of kids in youth sports. And you wonder why it is because parents want their kids to get college scholarships, really. And that's what it's all about. And what you realize, man, is a bunch of kids in this space, but they're not learning a whole lot other than sports. Mm-hmm. And what you got to realize is, man, all these kids in this space, man, 10% of them are going to make it in sports. So what's happening to the other 90%?
Right.
And so, like, let's go where the kids are, and let's start focusing on getting these kids. Okay, we can play sports. We're going to do that, but we're going to focus on the things that really matter. How do you be a good individual? And so we do mentorship, and we pretty much just teach stewardship from God's word. And we say you're a steward of what God has given you. So you have to steward your time. You have to steward your temple, which is your body. You have to steward your talent. You have to steward your treasures, which is your resources. You have to steward your testimony, which is your story. And so you stewards, and we're going to teach you how to steward those things. And we're going to play football. And we're going to succeed in the classroom. And in that time, man, we've had 5 years, we've had 100% graduation rate. All but one of our kids has gone to college, and that kid is going to college. He just didn't get no offers and didn't go to school for whatever reason, sitting waiting. But now he's going to enroll in the junior college. So we're excited about that. That'll give us 100% of every kid in our program. We've had over close to 50 scholarships. And
So what the age group is this like 9th grade and up, or?
We get them as early as 6th grade.
Oh, okay.
And we start to primarily focus on recruiting at 9th grade.
Right.
And we've had over close to 30 scholarships. So, I mean, Division I scholarships. And so of those 50, 30 of them have been Division I scholarships.
That's a good number.
Impressive.
Yeah. And we're really just getting started. For the first few years, for those first 3 years, we only had 9th through 12th grade.
Right.
And then last year was the first year we went down to the 6th grade. So we had 75 kids in our program. This year, we have 110 kids in our Mississippi program. And we just launched in New Orleans where we have 35 kids in our program. So it's growing. Our goal is to at least be in 3 states throughout the South. But for that, we have the capacity to run, but then hopefully license it out to all the states throughout the South and eventually around the country.
I don't know. It sounds to me like you might want to do a little coaching in the future. Is that anything you're thinking about? I mean, you look at the success of D'Amico Ryans, and he was, in my opinion, he wasn't the linebacker you are, but he's climbing up the ranks as a coach. Is it something you think you might end up doing?
You know what? I believe I'd make a much better athletic director or general manager than I would a coach. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy administration, and that's why I work in space with the Devoted Dreamers. I just had a conversation with my coaches and told them, they like me down on the sideline with them, but I'm like, I won't be on the sidelines with you guys this year. Because for me, it's hard to work in the organization and work on the organization. Mm-hmm. My job is to create better opportunities for the kids, help them scale, help them get recruited, help them get to that next level. Help my coaches get opportunities, help, make sure they have the best trainings that they can have. I'm thinking about the practice weekends. How do I make sure that they have a great skills quarterback coach, a great skills wide receiver coach, a great skilled DB coach that can help them polish up to have tools that they can use at the next level and not just have this 6-foot frame and 4.4, 4.5 speed, but to really be able to polish that. Mm-hmm. And really set them on their way, man. We just had a tryout. I think the next week or so, probably 5 of the kids are going to get offered already. And so that's just out of our 24 class. Man, when I tell you, it's an unbelievable thing, and we just get started. Another thing is we're on college campuses. We're on a Southern New Orleans campus in New Orleans, and we're looking at getting onto Tougaloo campus in Mississippi. So as Devoted Dreamers build out, we want to be on college campuses. Hopefully, we can use our resources to help them rebuild a athletic facility on their grounds. As we continue down the road, that way the kids can have a training ground on a college campus, and it just gets them in the mentality of. And these are all mostly inner city kids that we're dealing with. So these kids wouldn't be going to college had we not stepped in and filled the gap. So these aren't kids who traditionally would have 4.0 GPAs, and we got quite a few 4.0 GPAs on our team. But these aren't kids that would traditionally do this. These kids live in environments where your choices are to do drugs and not to do drugs or not do drugs. It's really, are you going to do weed, crack, or cocaine? It's not to carry a gun. It's are you going to carry a Glock 9mm or AK-47, right? These are the choices that these kids are dealing with and navigating. And sports has always been their outlet. That's where they can go and be free and not worry about all that stuff. But we want to take the draw of sports and give them some supplemental skills. And that's what they're learning how to navigate.
Well, I think the cool thing is that you're giving them eternal tools.
Come on, man.
Tools.
Come on, man.
Beautiful.
Come
on.
It's I think when you have a platform like myself, I had a trade. I wanted to master my trade. I did. Then I wanted to pour into other people, and I did. And now I want to make a difference. I mean, you just get to the point where that's more gratifying, than anything. And so I think the thing that I want to talk about now, when did you start thinking about Devoted Dreamer Academy? Devoted Dreamers. I mean, is this something you've always wanted to do? And tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah. So Devoted Dreamers Academy was actually the name of the summer camp. So the end goal was always to be here. And the end goal was to have an environment where kids could come and develop spiritually, mentally, and physically. That was always the dream. And to go from a summer camp to where we are now, the after school program, meaning we get to be with them 3 days a week plus weekends, and then to go towards a full school where we're going to be able to have them every day of the week for those most crucial 8 hours was always the dream. It's because kids we all know that the children are our future, but what are we investing into them? You look at, the modern day school is a one size fit all model. This is where the kids are spending most of the time, and you're being told if you come in and do well on tests, you are the best of this school. And that's who go out and get the academic scholarships, right? Or you're told, sports is a way to make it out. And that's where you see this big, not usually in youth sports. But you could rise to 10%. Now you got to chop. What about the rest? So we're losing 50% of our kids in school, those 8 hours. And then in sports, we're losing 90% of the kids. And so it's like, I just want to go where they are. But then let's take the time to pour into them.
Right.
Because the word says you pour in a child, teach a child in the way that they should go. And when they're old, they won't depart from it. Well, if we want to have greater leaders tomorrow, we got to have greater investment now. And you're going to see that return, much later. I am a product of what was poured into me. Now, I went through my rough years. I was expelled from school. I almost lost my life. I went to jail. But once I came to Christ, what was huge was not only did the Holy Spirit come awake in my life, but all the years of what people poured into me positively started to come out. And that's what I believe will happen with the same youth. And so that's all the academy does. That was always the goal in Mississippi. Just New Orleans, we had the resources to do it. And with the notoriety of the Saints, with the support of the Saints, with the support of some great strategic partners, we were able to move towards launching a school. And so that's always been the goal since the beginning. And the goal is to pop these up all throughout the South.
Well, the most important thing is that they put their hope and faith, not just in their giftings, but in what Christ did for them. That's the most important thing. And I know this, I know this about me. God didn't just save me. He freaking rescued me.
Man, come on.
He rescued me. I was like a guy in a lifeboat that got the helicopter took me out of the water. It was that serious. And I think that, the pouring into is, I think that the thing that you're really interested in.
Well, that's the goal is, like football or sports is my Trojan horse. The academics is hey, we're going to do something a little more than football. But the end goal and what the real opportunity is to plant the seed of Jesus Christ into their hearts. That's the goal, is discipleship. And so when you look at our 5 T's, the first thing that we're teaching is what you have, you don't own. You are stewarding it. You are stewarding it. And who are you stewarding it for? You're stewarding it for the master. It belongs to God. And so God wants you, firstly, he gave everybody different capacities of these, but he gave everybody these 5. And so you start with your time. God gave you time. He wants you to use that time wisely. That's what the word says, be wise with your time because the days are evil. So every part of your day, use that. Your temple. Your body don't belong to you. It belongs to God. It is a temple for God. God dwells in you. And so that means you need to take care of the house that the Lord lives in. You need to make sure that thing is clean. Your talents and gifts. Every talent and gift that God used you, he gave you to use to build up the kingdom of God. So my leadership, my encouragement ability, my pushing people to dream, that begins with me. I live that out for myself. God gave me that, and I use it for his glory. It goes to my home, to my kids and my wife, then my kids. It goes to my church. It goes to the community, and then it goes to the nation. And why is it in that order? Because that's the alignment that God has called for. And then the same with your treasure. Your treasures, that's used to build up the kingdom of God. God he blessed you with these treasures. Like, of course, everything ain't no secret. Everybody in the NFL is blessed tremendously with resources. So with a ton of not just money, but all these other things that come in form of resources. But what did God give that for you? He didn't give it to me just to use for me and my family. He gave me to use to bless other people. The first 6 years of Devoted Dreamers was all self-funded by me and my wife. And we weren't even going looking for fundraising. It wasn't that we couldn't, but there was not to say there was no need to do it, but we could. And it was kind of being selfish and saying, man, I want those eternal rewards for us. We're going to do our part. We want those eternal rewards. We ain't storing these treasures up on earth. And so, whatever treasure that you have, whatever resource you have, you use it for the kingdom of God, no matter what capacity. The Bible talks about the woman who put 3 copper coins in there, and she gave more than everybody else in the room. Then, your testimony, which is God's story. And that's what I lead from. Devoted Dreamers was built for my story. The type of kids that we're impacting is the type of kid that I was before I was radically transformed by the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so the goal is to get these kids in there. And so over the 5 years, we've seen 3 kids get discipled. We had over our last 2 years, we had 1 2 years ago and 2 this past season. It's growing. And then we had, those are the ones that got baptized. They were willing to step out amongst their peers and get baptized. But we've had several professions of faith, but we don't just take them lightly. And it's a lot of pressure because that says a lot when a high school kid in the midst of his peers in this type of environment are willing to get up and go and get baptized in front of a bunch of their peers.
Yeah.
And so we know what type of pressure that is on them to be able to do that. That's
especially today with all the crap out there. It's got to be tough.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I mean, the kids are up against a lot of things, man. We have to take, as Christians, we have to take authority over that stuff, man. It's a lot of dark spirits.
Yeah, there's a lot of evil out there.
There's a lot of dark spirits over them, man. I mean, there's a lot of evil in the world, period, but it's some dark spirits over them just in regards to identity, in regards to sexuality, in regards to confidence, and just that identity piece, man, is so huge, and it's just leading these kids into depression and despair. And we believers have to take authority over that and we can't be passive with that stuff because the devil is just robbing our kids, man. He's gotten right into the homes. He skipped the fathers and the mothers and he's getting right to the kids. And it begins at home with the parents, kind of putting that protection over their kids. But even in the community, in the church, we have to start standing up and putting a stop to it, calling the enemy out when we see it, taking authority over those spirits and just let the Holy Spirit take authority over all this stuff that's happening over our kids, man. It's really drastic in it, but it's spiritual warfare, exactly what it is.
I think you got a few sermons in your future. I think you're going to be preaching a few sermons. If I have to, I'm the first one to predict that, by the way. He's going to preach some sermons. He is.
Breaking news.
He is. He's going to preach some sermons. It's DeMario's 5 T's, Time, Temple, Talents, Treasures, and Your Testimony. We're speaking with DeMario Davis, can I say this? All-world middle linebacker of the New Orleans Saints. You're on All Over the Road, New Orleans, the podcast. And so the school, is it opening? Is it open yet? Or where's the location?
It's already functioning. We're on Suno's campus, southern New Orleans.
Okay.
We're on their campus. We partner with the Rooted School there on their campus to use their facility. So we use their classroom there. We had a ribbon cutting ceremony, I guess you can call it, or an official open house lunch where the chancellor there came and spoke. The wonderful Miss Gail Benson came and spoke. Tyron Matthew, who's the ambassador in New Orleans for us, spoke. And they've been there for, I guess this is week 3. They go on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays for 2 hours from 6:30 to 8:30. Mm-hmm. And Monday and Thursdays is mostly in the classroom. So on Mondays, the focus is our stewardship day. So that our 5 T's, our principles of stewardship, is the primary focus. And so we had an entire curriculum designed around those 5 T's, but we also include reading comprehension, financial literacy, all types of life skills inside that. We just balance it around those 5. And then on Thursday, we have our Beyond Sports program. So we partner with people like the NFL, with Oshner, to bring them things such as sports media. So how to find careers in sports media and start to learn about that. How to learn sports medicine, athletic training and all of that. Sports technology is there, and sports business, sports finance. So what we want to do is show them, man, when you go to a game on a Sunday, there's way more jobs than the 22 positions that you see on the field. They're athletic trainers, orthopedic surgeons, all on the sideline. And what does that put them on? It puts them on a track towards medicine. When you look at, man, somebody made that field goal. Somebody made those cleats and uniforms and shoulder pads and helmets and tested that. So the sports tech, field, that puts them on the track for engineering. When you look at, man, there's somebody recording and broadcasting this game so it can go out live and so that you can watch your film later, and the people who commentating on your game, sports media, it puts them on a track towards entertainment. Before you played that game, you had to have a contract It's somebody up there, selling those tickets. It's somebody that's thinking about how, all this is negotiated and set up and how you're represented. And so what you put them on is a track towards business. And so it's like, it starts them down these tracks of these careers, but what road can that put them on that they can end up much later where they can see past the football field?
Right. So it's I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's how you look out for that other 90%.
Okay, so there's no tuition. It's all people make donations, right, and support the school financially. Is that how that works?
No. When the school gets launched, it's going to be a private school, so there's going to be a little small fee that they'll have to pay when we get to our 8 hours. But right now, it's a very small fee. I think for our 6 months, it was like $1,000 a kid. Okay. For the 6 month program, they come in for 18, 19 weeks, and then we still scholarshiped all the kids. So it was no kid that we selected. Right. We had an evaluation, because to get into our program, any kid just can't get into our program. It's not to say we don't serve all type of kids. We just believe that our program is for a certain type of kid. Right. And so we do an evaluation to figure out if a kid will fit, because our environment is a very challenging environment, and we don't want kids that are coming to our program and fail and it will set them back. Yeah. Not because, we won't work with them, but it's very challenging, and you can have a lot of disappointments, because when you come into our program, just because you're part of our program don't mean you're going to play. And there's going to be people that you're going to want to go this way. We're going to say, hey, you're going that way, because we've seen this story play out, stuff like that. Right. And that's not for everybody. And we want to protect the kids who are doing well in the environment, so we have to be careful who we bring in. But we also want to bring kids in who have the ability to succeed. We do believe that there's a road for everybody. Our program just isn't the one for everybody. Right. And so, we're very protective with that. So the kids that we select, there's no kid that's going to have an excuse that they, like financing won't be like, oh, you can't get in because you don't have the money. Like, no, we're going to work with you. And so we were able to make sure that every kid was covered, just because we've had unbelievable support. One of our biggest partners is Stand Together. I want to make sure I shout them out. Man, they've just been phenomenal. Not just from a financial partner, but the services and the support. I mean, I don't know nothing about this stuff. I just care about kids. Right. And I know my story and what I needed. And so I've tried to pull those players together. But to have people who, have over 100 years in this space, working in the education space, but even beyond, able to pull together resources and help us get it all set up. It's just been phenomenal.
Well, I was expelled from high school my senior year.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I was expelled from high school.
You know what that's like, man.
I was in jail too, several times. Looking into some of your endeavors and everything, anything that you're doing, we here at the show, at the podcast, we'd like to get behind it. So please, let us know things that we can get involved in. If we can come to an event or if there's anything you need, we want to get involved in it, because I think that this is something that, for instance, I'm involved with something that's called One Heart NOLA that deals with kids that are in the foster system and they age out. I think kids have it worse than they've ever had it before. It's a real tough time for them, with all the stuff going on with identity and gender and bullying and peer pressure like never before, and constant barrage of stuff. I think it's great what you're doing. I want to get involved in anything that you're doing. I really do. Man, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. I really am. I'm a big fan. There's only one guy that I was more starstruck than you, and that was Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson. Oh man, I couldn't even talk when I met Reggie Jackson. I'm a big fan of yours. I bought the jersey before I knew you were going to be on there. I didn't go out and just buy it, because when I bought it, it fit me. As a matter of fact, it did fit me. I wanted to ask you a couple other things. The sleeves, the arm sleeves. Okay, where do you get those?
Where do I get them?
Yeah, are they made especially for you?
Yeah. But the group they sell them, but I'm real close with the group. It's sleeves.com.
Sleeves.com.
Sleeve.
Get me some.
It's with an F.
With an F.
Sleeve.
Sleeve.
Spell it for me, Nikki.
SLEEF. Sleeve.com. Can you use it in a sentence?
Yeah.
S.com. FS.com, man.
No, I don't dare.
So that group has been good, man. They do the armband. That's who I partnered with when I did the Man of God head.
Right.
Man. They've been phenomenal. I encourage. They make great stuff. I've always had swag on the field, even going back to high school. I just love to get, dressed up like a creative player when I was playing. The first thing you realize when you get to the NFL, man, they take a lot of your creativity away.
Yeah.
And
except the shoes. They let you wear the shoes one week.
But I learned to find the right shoe game, and then the sleeve was man, that was the one, and that's been a game changer. I like it because it's like a tribal tattoo. I don't have a lot of tattoos, or I have no tattoos, and so it's just kind of like that tribal tattoos. Like if I did have a tattoo, I would probably get an arm sleeve on both arms, and so that's kind of like my little sleeve that I really rock. And they good too, man. They
I'm getting me some.
They sponsor my travel team. Man, they just did 115 uniforms for us, no charge. And,
cool.
And they great. Wow. They phenomenal, bro.
Now, do you ever after a game go home and let's like record it and you watch it? You ever watch the game?
You know what? I never watch any of my games. I've probably only seen maybe 2 minutes total of my entire career on game, on replay. And so I just not that I'm consciously not watching it. It's just I never have. And so those 2 minutes was maybe a moment that somebody was showing me of them showing something that happened in the game, but I've never rewatched the game.
Do you watch Monday Night Football?
A little bit. I'm not a huge. I love the game of football, but I'm not a huge football fan.
Okay.
I love the game of football because of what it teaches about life. So I love it on all levels.
Absolutely.
I love it all the way down to the Pee-wees. I love it at the high school, especially. I think that's probably what I like the most.
I coached high school football for 3 years.
Oh wow!
I did.
Yeah,
DC.
So I just love the game.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's just awesome. It's a lot of work.
Dope. That's dope.
A lot of work.
Was y'all nice? Was y'all good?
Yeah, we were good. It wasn't until after I left that they won a state championship, but we were pretty good. But
you set the stage for that.
That was DC. Yeah, absolutely.
You set the stage for that.
Absolutely. Well, but that kind of ruined my next question. I was going to ask you who your favorite announcer was. The announcers.
My favorite announcer, I don't think it'd ever be one like him. John Madden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just because I'm a huge Madden fan, and I've been on that since I was a little kid. His voice just transcends.
Yeah.
And I was a Little Giants, the movie fan. So when he came on the Little Giants, that's one of your first heroes, man. You're like, man, who is this large human being? So I don't think there'll ever be an announcer on that level.
Yeah, it's like a grunt offensive lineman announcing the game. It's like your grittiest offensive lineman, and he's announcing the game. That's what John Madden was. Yeah. But John Madden, my dad introduced John Madden to the turducken.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, if you go to the Gourmet Butcher Block in Bell Chase there's a picture on the wall. It's got my dad's picture and John Madden and Glenn, what's this, Listich? What's his name? Mistich? The guy.
Yeah, I don't know the guy.
Guy's so good to me. I can't think. It's terrible. It's a senior moment. But anyway.
That's elite, man. That's dope.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play one more game with you. We're DeMario Davis, the all-world linebacker for the Saints. Here's a game. I'm going to play a little thing. Let's go back to 3 seasons. 3 seasons, okay? You're in practice. All right. You've got first-team offense against first-team defense. All right? You're in there. The offense is in 11 personnel, and you're responsible for the seam. You're responsible 5 yards off the ball all the way to the goal line. Of course, Dick Butkus could have never done that. The game has changed. Dick Butkus couldn't have played that position the way they play it now. And Josh Hill's lined up. And Josh is going to work the seam in practice. And it's your job to cover. Did Josh ever give you a hard time? Or is he pretty easy to cover? First of all, Josh is a good friend of mine. I love Josh. He's like a son to me. But I can see you and Josh in practice. Josh is trying to work the seam. You didn't let him catch any balls, did you? Tell everybody what 11 personnel is.
Well, when you come out of 11 personnel, it just means one tight end on the field.
One tight end and one running back. Yeah.
Yeah. So if Josh is on the field, I'm not playing him for the pass. I'm probably thinking it's a run play. He's a very good run blocker. So I'm assuming that they finna try to hand the ball off.
Well, that's a fine how do you do. That's a fine how do you do, DeMario. So you think Josh is in the game, they're going to run the ball.
That's
he
what
caught some passes.
Because they got Jared Cook over there. And
I think the numbers would prove he's right.
Yeah, I know.
They got Jared Cook over there, if I'm not mistaken. He's still there. Then they already don't give a lot of plays to the tight end. So if they're trying to throw it to the tight end, they're gonna put him in.
So did Josh ever block you?
Yeah, I'm sure we had to run into each other a few times.
Yeah, how was that?
That's how I know he's a good run blocker.
He's a great guy. Got a wonderful family.
He's phenomenal, man. Our kids do jiu-jitsu at the same place, and so we always see each other in passing. Man, just great human being, him and his wife, his family, man.
Well, I have one wish, And the one wish is that you're on the team for the rest of your career. And I know there's a lot that has to happen for you to do that.
Man,
and it's none of my business, but I would love to see you. You know, there were some great linebackers that played here. The first one you probably never heard of was Joe Fettersfield. You ever heard of him?
Mm-mm.
Joe Fettersfield. Google him. Joe Fettersfield. He was, of course, Sam Mills. But Sam Mills was a little different than your game. It was a different game.
Yep.
Vilma. Okay,
Yep.
but I think you're better than Vilma. And so I think you're the best middle linebacker we've ever had. And, you know, they're real stingy about the names they put over the ring of honor. You notice that?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys that should be up there. Morton Anderson should be up there. Tommy Myers.
Sure.
Remember Tommy Myers out of Syracuse? The safety. He should be up there. There's a bunch of guys that should be up there. And hopefully you'll be up there too. And hopefully you'll be hanging around, okay? And
man, I appreciate
this has been a long time coming. I appreciate you being on with us. I got one more thing to do. If you want to stick around, you can. If you can't, if you don't, you just click the button and you're off. Okay?
All right, bet it up, man. Y'all guys be blessed.
God bless you, buddy. Demario Davis, ladies and gentlemen, who is he's just a great guy.
Oh, the memories. It's the All Over the Road New Orleans time capsule with the king of all podcasting, Victor Del Giorno.
You're probably saying to yourself, what do I do with this excess money that I have in my bank account? Yeah, I think everybody should have some cash reserve. But when it gets into like a bunch of money, you're not making any interest on it, and it's just there for the taking. You know, if everybody tried to withdraw money out of the bank, all the banks have crashed. The banks don't have this money. The money doesn't exist. Try to go to the bank and get $10,000 out. Good luck to you. Well, there's an answer to the sideline cash problem. There's an answer to, you know, possible banks collapsing. There's an answer to securities collapsing. There's an answer to a possible depression. It's possible. And that is GOLD, gold. It's been around for 5,000 years. And Coin Trader Inc., they're your go-to people when it comes to precious metals, gold, and rare coins. They are experts in all of those areas. They will tailor a plan just right for you and your family. You might want to take care of the grandkids. You might want to do something for the wife. You might want to do something for the retirement. This is retirement insurance. This is financial insurance. You can't be without it, and it's tangible. They don't send you a piece of paper. They send you the real stuff discreetly in the mail. So give them a call. It's Coin Trader Inc., proud sponsors of this podcast. 504-267-6004, and tell them the king of all podcasting sent you. Coin Trader Inc. Mind your money, baby.
What would a time capsule be without the one and only Scott McKay on All Over the Road New Orleans?
Hello.
Scott McKay is with us.
Hey.
Author. Knoweth of Alleth.
Mm-hmm.
Knoweth of Alleth. The Revivalist Manifesto, Scott, which I read. Thank you.
Ooh. Well, that's excellent.
And then after reading it, I picked up another book. This is what I wanted to run by you real quick. I know that, you know, you're a busy man.
Hey, I wanted to ask him, though, real quick.
Go ahead.
I didn't know you knew so much about sports. He's always posting about sports.
I used to do an LSU sports publication.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Our guest from last week just brought it up and asked if you were the Scott McKay with the, what was that? The magazine?
It was Purple and Gold magazine.
It is you.
Yeah.
We said, no, I don't think that's Scott. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know where to ask him. And
I said,
is.
Scott's a real young guy, but how old are you, Scott?
I'm 52. I'm not that young.
Really? Wow. I thought you were younger than that.
I thought he was older.
Yeah. You did?
I just did. We've never met.
I'm glad we reached a consensus on that issue.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he knows a lot. You must read a lot and just be well-versed.
Are those readers you got on tape?
Yeah, but you can't use them.
Jeez, I can't.
You got readers. He's got readers on now. Why you need mine?
Because these are not strong enough.
Are you trying to read something?
Yeah, I'm trying to read.
All right, here, you can borrow them. I don't need to read. I just need
to
to
edit
this. All right, sorry about that, Scott. Bumpy start.
The reason why I was all chomping at the bit, Scott, to call you today after reading your book is that I picked up another book. It's called Strange New World. All right. It's by this guy named Carl R. Trueman. Okay.
Okay.
And, you know, today, you know, a lot of people down here in New Orleans, you know, being in the South too, in Baton Rouge, a lot of us, you know, if we want our kids to not get a slanted view of the world, we have to send them to private school and pay college tuition prices, you know.
Right.
Okay, so here's the book. So and you know, we have to send them to private schools or you homeschool, you know, all this stuff. And, you know, and there's a lot of, and I know you agree with this, Scott, because I know your views on things. You know, if you want your kids to have not a slanted view that, you know, the narrative folks are pushing, you know, you could be a God-fearing, you know, moral person. Okay. And of course, even moral people will screw up and make bad decisions. Let's face it. Everybody does. you have sinned, not sinned, throw the first, cast the first stone. Right. You still can't help what they're exposed to when they leave the house for 6-7 hours a day, especially if you don't have the money to send them to private schools or you don't have the means to homeschool. Both parents work. That's the kind of world we live in now. So, here's what he says in here. He goes, and he talks about the strange new world. Okay. He said, yet this phenomenon is no longer confined to the fictional products of our day. He says, for many people, the Western world in which we now live in is a profoundly confusing and often disturbing quality to it. Things once regarded as obvious and unassailable virtues have in recent years been subject to vigorous criticism, and even in some cases come to be seen by many as more as akin to a vice. Indeed, it can seem as if all things that almost everybody believed in is unquestioned orthodoxy the day before yesterday. The marriage between a man and a woman, for example, are now regarded as heresies advocated only by dangerous lunatic fringe. So he's saying here that if you believe that marriage should be between a man and a woman, you are a lunatic fringe. And there's more. Do you want to comment on that, or want to read the rest of it?
Well, what this brings to mind, and I think I want to say it was Barbara Kingsolver had the quote about, that which used to be seen as deviant is now orthodox, right. And that which was orthodox is now seen as deviant. So, I mean, it's the same thing, and I'll probably butchered that quote, but it's something like that. I mean, so in other words, yeah, this guy's saying the same thing, and that's correct, and that's basically what the radical project is, right? Is to redefine the culture. I mean, you go back to the French Revolution, where they basically wiped out pretty much everything that French society had been based on under the king, and they burned down all the Catholic churches they could, and or repurposed a bunch of them as temples to reason and so forth. And, you saw the same thing in the Cultural Revolution in China, where, and I can't remember exactly what the four olds were, but they were like, old culture and old ideas and old, activities or whatever, that like, if you were guilty of practicing any of that stuff, then you had a struggle session and they would tie you up and beat on you while you said how sorry you were. Yeah. And it's pretty similar to what happens on, Twitter before Elon Musk takes over the place, right? Like, I mean, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's there, like he's definitely onto something with that quote. There's no question.
Well, the thing about it is, Ted and I, we talk about this all the time, is that the people that think that kind of view as a lunatic fringe is like a small population, but yet it gets blown up into like they're the majority, and they're a very, very small minority. And it's just the way the narratives are pitched. Yeah,
they've managed to sort of insinuate themselves into positions of power in the cultural institutions. Like the people, and I mean, like here's a perfect example. So Disney goes and makes this Strange World movie, right? Mm-hmm. And it loses $100 million, right? Like Disney puts out a movie that loses $100 million, and you're like, okay, so how does that even happen? Well, the answer is it's a movie. It's an animated movie for kids about a gay teenager who has a gay relationship in the animated movie, and parents get a hold of that, and they're like, I'm not taking my kid to see that. Right. Yeah. And so the movie's a bomb, and it's because people don't want to be radicalized in their cultural beliefs during, entertainment that they pay for. And, but Hollywood is like, so just falling all over themselves to try to do this stuff, and people just don't like it. And, so it's all ideological because, you're not going to make money doing this stuff. Like they made earlier this summer, they spent, I want to say it was like $45 million between marketing and production for this movie Bros, which was another gay thing. And it was like a gay activist romantic comedy. And like shockingly, the movie had no audience for it. Like, I mean, regular folks were like, not even interested. And most gay people were like, I don't need to see that, like they really weren't interested in gay sex scenes on film. And like, there was no market for that. There was like a small market movie, but somebody buffaloed that movie studio into spending $45 million on something that was never going to make that investment back. And you had people in positions of power in that studio that were like, yeah, but this is us paying, homage to the woke gods doing this stuff. And the thing of it is that line, get woke, go broke, is a real thing. The problem is that the people who have the power in some of these institutions, they don't care about get woke, go broke. They don't mind going broke with somebody else's money to push their agenda.
Well, if Walt Disney were alive today, he'd go in there and clean house. He'd fire everybody in the damn place.
Yeah.
Well, what I don't understand is why somebody hasn't done to Disney what Elon Musk is doing to Twitter, which is to buy the thing out and start firing people left and right and basically do the hostile takeover, old school Gordon Gekko plan, right? Like I'm waiting for somebody to do that because Disney is so ripe for it. It's not even funny.
Well, didn't Disney just bring back the old CEO and
they did
making some change? So you think they're going to refocus some of their ideas?
I know they just opened. They just reopened Disney Shanghai.
Yeah,
with COVID crap attached to it. Okay,
well, remember this about Bob Iger, though. That was the guy that started Disney down this woke road.
Okay.
And his successor, this Bob Chapek guy over there, I mean, like basically just continued what Iger did and ran the company into the ground as a result. So now they bring Iger back. And the question is he going to just try to put a nicer face on all the woke Disney stuff? Or then there's the other story out there about Iger that his plan and his job is to come back and unload Disney on somebody like Apple. So that, the investors actually get their money back out of the deal.
Well, that could be. Okay, here's the second quote I pulled out of Carl Trueman's book, Strange New World. Here it is. Now, all the problems are not confined to just the world out there. Often they manifest themselves most acutely and most painfully with families. Parents teaching their family traditional views of sex. It's funny because as I read this, I was thinking about you. I mean, they're saying, and I said, I got to get Scott's take on this. He says traditional views of sex find themselves met with incomprehension by their children who have absorbed far different views from the culture around them. What a parent considers to be a loving response to a child struggling with same-sex attraction or gender dysphoria might be regarded by the child as hateful and bigoted. And this is true within the church. And within the wider society. The generation gap today is reflected not simply in fashion and music, but in attitudes and beliefs and some of the most basic aspects of human experience and human existence. The result is often confusion and sometimes even heartbreak, as many of the most brutal engagements in culture war are played out around the dinner table at family gatherings. Welcome to the strange new world. You may not like it, but it's where you live, and therefore it's important that you try to understand it. And this, and the only thing I didn't like about it is the last thing, that we try to understand it, because this is, I guess, the premise on woke itself is that you don't have to agree with it, but you need to understand it and live with it. Correct? Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, I'm not for living with it. I think, no, it's not sustainable. Nobody's ever run a society like these people are talking about it. It will fail. Okay, so there's no imperative that you have to accept something is going to fail.
He doesn't say accept it. He doesn't say accept it, but you need to understand it, and so that kind of makes sense.
Well, that I don't object to, but the idea of you need to make your peace with this, which is not necessarily what your author is saying. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are saying that. Nobody has to put up with this stuff.
Let me ask you this.
And I mean, I can't repeat precisely Trump's quote. That might be the best thing he ever said, but he said, everything woke goes to blank, right? And he was 100% right, because everything woke does go that way. And, and I mean, this kind of includes people's families when their kids get wrapped up in this stuff. But, look, this is this is what's out there. And being a parent, and like I'm not one, which is something I feel like I should remedy. But then I start thinking about this stuff and go, maybe not. But I mean, like as a parent, it's tougher than ever because the culture is working against you. And all of the, education, if you try to put your kid in a public school, it's like playing Russian roulette with, God knows what kind of monster is in the classroom so often. And maybe even private school is not a full defense of that. So, I mean, like it's much tougher as a parent now than it really has ever been, but you still got to fight that battle, and you can't just swear off your kids because the culture got to them. You've got to deprogram your kids every day as a result of, what the corporate media is doing, because kids are plugged into media more now than they've ever been at any point in history. And it's all bad. Like all of it is bad.
Right.
Now, there like you want to hear some like green shoots of positivity here, which is, for example, this Strange World gets crushed at the box office. But what did every bit as well as it did the first weekend were the first 2 episodes of season 3 of The Chosen that they actually put in movie theaters. Mm-hmm. And it's like the most amazing thing. This Angel Studios, which is this Christian film production company, goes and does The Chosen. And it's basically it's a retelling of the gospel, right? Like, I mean, They cast somebody as Jesus and they got all the apostles and they tell all the stories of the Bible, right? And, it's great. They crowdfunded this thing to the tune of like $350 million or more. And, made this unbelievably good stuff. And they've done 2 seasons that are like, they're available to stream for free. And then season 3, which is available to stream for free, but they put the first 2 episodes of it. So it's like a 2-hour thing, in theaters. And it did more at the box office than Disney's $180 million, tentpole movie that they did that got crushed. And, like The Chosen's a pretty decent sized production, but it's nowhere near $180 million for those 2 episodes.
Right.
So the point is that like, the audiences will go see this stuff. I mean, there is a definite market for cultural content that engages with and reinforces traditional values, and you're starting to see this pay off at the box office again and again and again and again while Hollywood is dying. And so like 5 to 10 years from now, my guess is that like when you say the word Hollywood, it's going to have a very different meaning than it does now, because all of those big corporate, woke studios that are making content for, a very small sliver of America, they're not even going to really exist anymore because they've been blown up by newer disruptive players in that market who, make movies and TV shows and other cultural content for a, very large number of Americans who are enthusiastically supporting them. I mean, movie audiences are still there. I mean, so they go make Top Gun Maverick and it does $1 billion. Right. Why? Because it reinforces the values that everybody wants to see in their entertainment because it's what they believe. Right.
That's right. Yep.
I just don't understand with the majority feeling the way they do, why we can't get people elected. I don't know. I mean, I just don't get it. It's because the institutions that that people look to produce whatever it might be, education or news or entertainment or what have you, they're controlled by a very small number of people. I don't want to get into the whole Kanye West thing, okay? But there was actually a point that he could have made if he'd said it better. I mean, he's talking about the Jews control the record business, whatever. I think was more accurate. What he probably should have said, and probably would have if he wasn't just trying to get attention,
is that it's not that the Jews own the record industry. It's that a very small number of people own the record industry. Right. It doesn't matter whether they're Jewish. That's kind of a closed loop of folks and they decide what's going to be a hit and what's popular and what gets promoted. And, and you have to go, kiss their rear ends to make that happen. And if they happen to be Jewish, it doesn't really matter. What matters is, that there's a small group of gatekeepers that decide what the culture is. So like you get this opinion that, this is like the way things are moving. And it's like, you know what? It's not. It's being artificially driven that way because you have radicals in charge of the cultural institutions that are driving this stuff.
Yeah.
And the answer is, blow the doors open and let's let good content get, the light of day. And you're starting to see some of that, like, in the Twitterverse with what Elon Musk is doing.
Yes.
Twitter is much more wide open than it was 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm finding myself spending much more time on Twitter than in the past.
I mean, I'm switching my stuff. I mean, I'm Facebook addicted, which is bad, and I'm trying to break it. But I mean, I'm doing much more Twitter stuff than it had been because Twitter was awful before Musk took over.
Did you see Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live?
Yeah. When he talked about the Kanye West thing?
Yeah, he talked about the Kanye West thing, and this is what he said. I don't know if you saw it, Ted, or heard about it. He said
I saw it.
The comedy thing was, he goes like this. He goes, you can say Jews, and you can say the Jewish people, but when you put the word "the" in front of Jews, you're in trouble. He goes, you can't put the "the" in front of Jews.
Yeah.
Well, look, Scott, it was brilliant. Yeah.
Scott, I think you're taking time. We got to get to another guest, but the name of the book is The Revivalist Manifesto. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. If you want to really get the straight skinny on what's going on, get that book. Scott, thanks again for joining us. You got anything coming up here? Tell them how they can get the book real quick.
Just go to Amazon and search The Revivalist Manifesto. That's the best way to get it. Yeah. Now we're running the hayride.com, covering like Louisiana and Southern stuff. And the new site that we're working on is reviver.com, which is RVIVR.com. That, is sort of more of a national outlet. But the other thing is Melissa McKenzie, who's the publisher of the American Spectator, where I also write. She and I have started a podcast called The Spectacle. Oh, nice. And if you go to thespectaclepodcast.com, we'll actually have a new one coming out probably tonight or tomorrow morning, which is Thursday morning it should be up, and really interesting podcast because we're talking about actually a lot of the same stuff that we just talked about on this one.
Well, you could have Teddy on; he'd be a great guest. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
right
there you go.
He's ready to go. He's all ready to go. He wants to be a guest. Teddy.
Oh yeah.
It's Scott McKay, ladies and gentlemen.
Scott,
thank you for joining us, Scott.
Right, hey, Merry Christmas, Scott.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Thanks for spending time with us.
Scott McKay.
Going back in time on AOTR's Time Capsule Candid Phone Calls.
If your phone rings, please answer. It's all over the road, New Orleans Candid Phone Calls.
Should we try that again?
I mean, he might need his birthday.
Listen to Candid Phone Calls on all our road podcasts.
How old's your dad now? About 95? Your dad? He's up in the 90s? 84? 84 today. Because I
maybe 85. I'm not quite sure.
I thought he was older.
Try calling him one more time.
Yeah, try to give him a call.
I told him
I mean, I grew up listening to your dad in Chicago. So, I mean, that was in the 60s. You sure he's only 85?
70s.
No,
it wasn't 60s. 70s.
You sure? 70s?
70s.
I guess maybe, well.
Yeah, early 70s. Hello?
I've got so many calls and so many messages. I'm speechless. I can't believe it.
You self-proclaimed.
I can't. I really can't. People give a crap about me, that. I really do. And I've got hundreds.
All these people care about you, and you don't care about anybody.
I care about everybody. Don't you dare say that. I'm a changed man. I have Jesus in my heart every day, and I bring him my bucket.
Greg, there you go. Look at that. There you go. You're in the wheelbarrow.
Well, Bob, this is Ted.
You're on the podcast, Dad. We called you to wish you a happy birthday. We're doing
it's me, Ted. Yeah, hey, happy birthday. Vic won't let me get a word in, but happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday. You guys mean so much to me. I know I don't say it enough, but I'm working on it. I just got, excuse me.
Go ahead.
From the wound clinic.
Yeah.
And man, they cut me up bad, scraping up all this dead skin.
But you got some wounds?
Man, that's the worst injury you can have. It's so painful.
Mm-hmm.
And when it starts healing, all that skin that gets black, they have to take it with a little round razor and scrape it off.
Well, where's this wound at? Where's the wound at? Where's the wound at, Daddy?
On both arms, from my wrist all the way up to my over my elbows.
So what happened?
I was up in Syracuse getting ready to go fishing on Friday. I got up there Thursday, went out, had a great meal with David Valenti and Paulie, and I really had like one drink. And I was feeling pretty good. I went back and got in bed. About 3 hours later, as you well know, I had to get up and go to Picasa. And coming back, I thought I had sufficient light, but I just walked. I tripped, actually, into this low coffee table on the other side of the sofa, and I went up in the air. When I came down, I hit elbows on top of the coffee table, and from my wrist all the way up my arm, I scraped the back end of that coffee table, which was wood, and I swear to God, guys, it was like a razor blade. Just for me, I was all blood and skin. Skin peels are the worst injury you can get.
Yeah.
But what they're telling me, but I'm coming along.
So did you go to you went to St. Joseph's Hospital there in Syracuse?
I went to St. Joseph's Hospital twice to the emergency room. Because they have to wrap it and they have to put the special. They were putting honey bee salve on it, and I guess it heals real good. I had never heard of it.
Jeez.
And then they have to wrap it all up, and exhausting. So it's going to be 2 weeks tomorrow, and I'm about halfway. They're telling me it's going to cost me about another 4 weeks.
Well,
going through all this.
I didn't know all this. I'll have to keep you in my prayers. I didn't know all this. So get well soon,
Well,
buddy.
I appreciate that.
So now for your birthday here, now what are you telling people? How old are you today? What are you telling people?
Well, no, I tell them that as you age, you start having a little memory loss, and I really don't know, but I know I'm somewhere near 39.
Yeah, that's good.
39.
Yeah. Vic told me you're like mid 80s. I thought you were older than that because I grew up listening to you on WIND in Chicago. I said that was 60s. He says it was 70s. I don't know. What was it?
70.
Well, it's 2 sessions. I started there in 70, stayed there until 76, and came to New Orleans.
Okay.
And I worked in New Orleans 4 years, and I went back up there, and I did WMAQ for 3 years, so at the FM side of it. So I was up there I was up there long enough to get my pension from AFTRA, and I love it.
You know what's so funny, Daddy? I don't know if you know this or not, but when Dad went back to work for WMAQ, which was NBC, their FM was WKQX.
Right.
And Dad was working there, and at the time there was 2 programmers that were his bosses.
Okay.
All right. And one of them was Randy Lane. Correct, Dad? Wasn't Randy there?
Oh, yeah, great guy.
Randy Lane. The other one was Lorna Osmond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And both those people hired me. Randy Lane hired me at FM 100 Memphis, which is about to go defunct. The FM 100 after 70 years is going country.
Changing.
Randy hired me at FM 100 in Memphis, and Lorna hired me at Mix in Chicago. And both of those people my dad worked for. And
well, it's supposed to be that way. It's all in the book. You know, it's there.
Hey, did you know somebody who's on WXRT? Her name was Terry Hemmert.
Doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wondered because she was in town during Jazz Festival when they had that shooting at Medina's.
Oh my God!
Yeah. Her friend was the one that was shot.
No kidding.
Yeah, she was in there. I thought maybe your dad would know who she was. But
that's one of my favorite places when I am in New Orleans. I love going there.
Well, I'm in all these Facebook groups, different radio things and all that. And there's one, it has nothing to do with New Orleans. But just today, your picture was posted by somebody, and it was you and Art Roberts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great picture.
Great.
Yeah.
He was a great guy.
Yeah, I just saw it this morning.
Yeah. He passed this year.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Art Roberts, gosh, he was great. He was awesome.
So what are you doing today? So where are you today? You in Mississippi today, or where are you?
I'm up at the lake. I'm kind of just taking it easy today. I had a lot of running around to yesterday with Pam, and she's coming in from Seattle, and got her and feeding the dog. I got this extra little dog now. He's a lot of work, but he's a kick. I watch him. I watch him grow an inch a day. He's something else, man.
How's Buddy doing? Buddy's still around? Buddy's still kicking?
Oh, yeah. Buddy's right next to me. I talked to Buddy. Say, look.
Hey, Buddy. Buddy's a dog. Buddy's a dog that I found on Highway 49. I rescued him on Highway 49, got him off the road, and then my dad picked him up like 2 days later. He's been around ever since.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's 18 years.
Jeez.
I've had this dog 18 years.
He's a good dog, though. Okay, so I definitely want to come up there and do some fishing soon, so let me know when we can do that, okay? I want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And as your dad would say, and I will repeat it to you, you still look pretty sharp for an old blade.
You guys, you can come fishing anytime you want.
Yeah, and I want to eat the fish. I'm not throwing them back. If I come, I'm going to eat them. I'm not throwing them back.
You can eat everything you catch. No problem with that.
Okay,
and give my love to everybody.
I will. We got a game tonight, Daddy. You got to come in for one of the baseball games. I'm coaching 6-year-old boys in baseball. You got to come check that out.
I will do that.
We got like
great kids.
It's great. You're great. Your great grandkids, 2 of your great grandkids on the team. I got 2, both of them on the same team. They're both hitting left-handed, and you can only imagine. It's pretty.
Do they know
exciting.
what to do? Do they know what to do after they hit the ball?
They're learning. Let's put it that way. They're learning because if they don't learn, you know what they do? They have to take a lap.
There you go.
Take a lap.
It sounds like the old school coaching. I love it.
Yeah. It's my daddy. His name is Bob Del Giorno. Happy birthday, Daddy.
Thank you very much, guys. Really, really appreciate this.
Yeah. Hope you get well soon with those wounds.
Get well soon. We'll be seeing you soon. I'll give you a call later.
I'm working on it. Bye-bye.
Hi, Daddy. There he is, my daddy.
The All Over the Road New Orleans Time Capsule, revisiting memorable moments that we know you want to hear again and again.
2023 Time Capsule.
Come on, Coin Trader Studios, we're bringing it live. And who am I? I go by the name of Darkest Night. And Jada Hoyos is the one who brings a sick beat, to which we're getting pumped for topics this week. Cause I need to grab my grape soda and take a sip, while I turn it over to Katie, Nick, Ted, and Vic. It's all over. We're all over the road. We got a brand new show, so just lo and behold, from the bayou to the city to the burbs to the swamps, you better know what time it is when you're hearing that.
The All Over the Road listener comment line. Say whatever you want. 24 hours a day. Tell a story. Give your opinion.
You'll be on the next podcast. So go ahead. Don't be shy. Call 504-603-6753.
We thank you all. This is the announcer guy speaking. For 4 seasons and All Over the Road, the podcast, New Orleans.